fellow race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you in part by McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia, based out of Mobile, Alabama. Family owned and operated, specializing in mufflers, shock converters, and more. They're in Mobile, Alabama. McDonald Muffler. Give those guys a call at 251-661-1043. That's McDonald Muffler. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two of the same Short Track guys in the studio as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can't Quit Fishing.com sportsman and 2021 sportsman champion, and Ted Baber of Ted Baber Video Productions. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Good evening.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's always exciting to get together with you guys in the studio talking short track racing. We got a little recap this past weekend. We had some excitement, too, down in the pits, and we're going to get to that just in a second. The sportsman recap this past weekend, and the kids' bike races. I will get to that, too. The kids' bike races ended up being some really hot stuff, if you know what I mean. And we had the track chaplain in the Crown Stock race.
Yes, we did.
We're going to recap all that stuff from this past Friday night. Let's get into this sportsman with Jim Pokrant at 07, see what happened this Friday night.
Well,
See what had happened was.
what had happened was, we qualified decent, 19.8 in qualifying, qualified fifth. On the dice roll, it put us on the outside pole, which we started, took the green and got kind of shuffled back a little bit because we're on the outside, fell back to about sixth, and we kind of settled in, and track just got slick. I don't know why. It just seemed like we were sideways. Well, we had a caution. The 09 car got into it with the 8 car actually dumped the 09 car lapping him, which closed everybody up. Well, once again, the choose rule, which I've not been a fan of, but 2 races in a row, it's been a benefit of mine. I've gained like 6 spots.
Yep.
So I drove all the way up to 4th, dropped the green flag. The car underneath me, the 51 of Jonathan Langham, misses a shift. Well, I'm in 3rd place with about 6 laps to go. So we're counting down 5, 4. We come to the white flag. We go into 3. We come into the white flag. I get a little loose. Jonathan kind of starts to get under me. Well, we go down the front straightaway, and I'm holding him down a little bit. I'm just defending. I'm not, nothing anybody else wouldn't do. We go off into 1, and I'm waiting and pending video from Ted Baber whether I squeezed him into the inside wall or did he run down there and hit the inside wall and bounce up into me. I would have rather him turn me sideways in the center of the corner and let me chase the car than hit the wall and slam into me, because when he did, he cut his right front tire, destroyed my interior sheet metal on the left side of the car, bent a ball joint. Then he slides up in front of me while I gathered up, and I'm in the marbles, so I'm all over the place. So I get down the back straightaway. Somehow he ends up in front of me. I ran into the back of him. Wasn't it I hit him because I was intentional. I was trying to get around him. Then we go off into 3. The 8 car dumps him, and I wind up finishing 5th, which wound up 4th after they tossed the 11 car of James Patrick for an illegal carburetor. I don't know. I wasn't in tech, didn't see it, but they said his boosters were too high. The carb tool fit the other 2 carburetors, not his. So, were the other 2 wrong and his was right? I don't know. I have no idea, but he got thrown out. And good news, we moved up to 5th in points, got a 4th place finish. Should have been on the podium, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. But we got a good finish. And then later in the pits, I'm getting out of the car, and here comes the entire Langham crew.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, there's probably 20 of them over yelling and screaming, and the cops get there, and it all settles down, and we go on our way home. So exciting evening, but had a lot of fun, and a shout out to all my fans, to my crew, Martin Beck, and Gabriella's daughter and her boyfriend. I can't remember his name at the moment, and Ted and Thomas, you were there, and it was a good night up until then, but I'm still smiling, so I guess it wasn't all bad.
Yeah, I think the last 2 races you've had a little bit of a beneficiary of that choose cone situation.
Yeah, we were actually 4th in the last race and got past with 2 to go for 5th because the car's getting tight center off. I've got to fix that. If I can get that thing to drive off the corner as good as it drives in the corner, I think they're going to have a problem. But anyway, we'll get it. I'm having fun. We moved into the top 5 in points, so it's something that's been a streak for me for years. I want to keep it, so let's go.
Yep. Chad Robinson, BJ Latham, Parker McDonald, Jim Pokrant in the studio, as always, and Daryl McDonald rounded out the top 5 in that sportsman feature. And we had pretty good race in the Outlaws, too. And those cars are really, really nice.
Yes, they are.
Those are like modifieds with bodies on them.
Yeah.
And very expensive, but they're late models. They're late models on an 8-inch tire with lots of motor and a hell of a lot of downforce.
Yes.
That 28 car is just taking off again.
Well, he dominated.
Total shock.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's hard to figure, but he dominated when he was here before, and then he quit and went late model racing, and I guess he's back in Outlaws full time.
Well,
Timothy Watson,
knows how to
from
get it
Panama
done.
City, Florida. Yeah, he's and he had to work for it again.
Yeah. He couldn't couldn't start better than 6 because he won last time. So there you go.
Yep.
Back out.
Bubba Winslow had the lead there late in the race, but Timothy just kind of methodically just picked him. And you know, hats off to Bubba. Bubba's, you know, in the interview said that he just had the better car and got the best of him, and they're going to work on it. And it's no lack of effort, you know, from his team. And that 92 is it's quick, and Bubba's a hell of a wheel, man.
Yeah. Well,
And
Timothy said in his interview that they went back and worked on the car because they didn't like the fact that they won, but then again, they won again, and they said they're still going to work on it some more. That's what it takes. You know,
Yeah.
Constant effort.
Timothy Watson, Bubba Winslow, Connor Sutton, Cameron Henderson, and Kevin Chase rounded out the top 5 in that outlaw race. And we've got the Pure Stocks. Man, Colby McDonald, is he any relation to them?
No.
No? It's a different McDonald?
It's a different McDonald.
Okay. Pure Stocks put on a pretty good show, too.
Yeah, I was surprised that Mason Johnson came back to get that third place finish because he was out of it for a while. I mean, completely in the pits and having trouble. I think, if I remember correctly, they said something about his anti-slosh devices in his fuel cell were wiffle balls, and one of them got in the intake, the uptake tube of the fuel cell of the
Was
pump.
sucking the fuel off. Well, the Butch, I can't think of his last name right now, drives a 21 car. Harvell. We were talking about that, and he said that's what he ran for years was wiffle balls, and they don't disintegrate, they don't cause any problems. And the minute I heard that Mason Johnson, I'm like, I bet you regret running them things.
Yeah.
I just don't run any. I haven't run anything in mine in years. And when I did, I used to run the drain pipe you use on septic tanks.
Yeah, the perf
Split
pipe,
it, but that stuff never disintegrates. Eli Williams, my buddy, taught me that, and I used to just push it in there, and it worked great.
Yeah.
But I just quit running anything in there because, I mean, you really don't need it. I've never had a problem with fuel sloshing around causing an issue.
It caused him an issue, and I don't think you're going to be doing that anymore. They'll find a better way to handle it.
No, but he did end up getting in the podium, so that little boy can drive now. He wheels the crap out of that 06 car. And Robert Barber did a hell of a job, but he just didn't quite have enough for that 26 car.
Yeah. Well, he's out front, and I think he plans on staying there if at all possible.
Yeah.
And the points race is really tight there too.
Yeah, it's going to be a good championship in that division.
Well, that was Colby McDonald, Robert Barber, Mason Johnson, Wayne Burkett, and Cameron Latham rounded out the top 5 in that pure stock. And speaking of the crown stocks, man, that class is growing every time you go out there. And we had a treat and had a special guest with the track chaplain, Wayne Butts, out there in that one car.
The Holy Roller.
Yeah,
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Wayne's good people. He is one of the best. You ever talk to him? And if he sees you anywhere in public, he's one of the first ones to walk up to you and say hello and shake your hand.
Good guy.
Yeah, it was a good race, and I like those cars, too.
Really good race.
But Dave Nolan,
Yeah.
that's it. That car is a story in Blake built car. It was under another number, I think number 10 or number 11 or something like that. And they got backed in the fence and they fixed it, and the guy sold it. And Dave Nolan, I've known Billy Nolan and them a long time. I've known Dave. Dave used to race in outlaw stock when they first started it.
Yeah, they
And his brother used to race too. He won the championship last year over at Sunny South in the little, I can't think of
Pro
the
Challenge?
Pro
Yeah,
Challenge.
I think
And
that's it.
I think Billy said he sold both the trucks, so they're not doing Pro Challenge anymore. So they need something to do. And Dave's boss said, "Hey, well, I want to race at Five Flags. What division can we afford?" He said, "Well, there's Crown Stock. Well, buy a car."
Oh, my God.
And then he goes out and wins his first feature race. And, I mean, held off the fastest guy in there, Ryan Blake.
Yes.
I mean, them guys, I thought Ryan was going to get him a couple times. But, boy, I'm going to tell you what, Dave just wheeled the dog snot out of that number 9 car.
Yeah, he did. He was fun to watch.
That was a good, and you know what's cool is you watch that race, and no matter where you look on the racetrack, somebody is battling in that division, and they're just having a good time. And to me, that's racing. That's fun.
Yeah, they came up on a couple of guys who were trying to battle for well, maybe last place, but still they were getting with it, trying to get it done.
Heck yeah, nobody wants to finish last or a lap down. Let's keep digging.
Yep.
Good show, though. Good show with those cars. I like them.
Yeah, they have 14 cars out there. One did not start, so they had 13 that ended up with the race. Dave Nolan ended up with the win. Ryan Blake, Tyler Young, Blason Boykin, and Daniel Lofton from Creola, Alabama, rounded out the top 5 in that class. I tell you what, it's if you haven't seen them, or just heard about that class, I would be out there on the 16th, and we're going to get to that here in the next episode. They'll be out there again doing laps.
Always put on a good show. I mean, those are huge, heavy cars with not a whole lot of motor and nothing outside of the stock.
Well, Daniel Lofton went up to Ops Saturday night and run second.
Wow.
In the same car. They said he was so far sideways every lap. They said you about everybody a heart attack. And while I'm on the subject of Op, it was crossover night, which is a good Christian evening they have up there. And the stands were slam packed. They had 110 cars in the pits. And Dave Mater won the street stock race.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And
we all know that name from somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
And Charles Davis run second. So it was 1,000 to win, and Dave Mater got the checkered. And
the check.
And the check. And from what I understand, the rest of the races that night were just spot on. It was a good show. And I mean, a packed house up there. And that was good to see a short track pack the house out, especially asphalt, because it's hard to do. But that track up there does a good job.
Yeah, we've been up there several times, and I think, Jim, you've had some success up there, haven't you?
Yeah, in 1998, I won the Rattler, and I brought a knife to a gunfight and wound up winning it. So every time I tell that story, I had to talk about leading. But only lap I led of that race was the last one.
That's the important one.
Yeah. Well, we took the green with 2 to go, went down the corner, and the guy pushed up, and I got under him. Dwayne Kroger was his name, and we raced all the way down the back straightaway in my little old open chambered headed motor that was just slow, and I got underneath him and he couldn't catch me, and I got back around him and won the race. So that was pretty cool. A big highlight of my career was winning the Rattler.
Well, the next local event here at Five Flag Speedway will be the Alan Turner Pro Late Model race, the 100. With Pro Late Models, Pro Truck, Sportsman, and Crown Stocks. So back June 16th, which is a week from this coming Friday. Get your tickets, get your plans, take the day off. And be there. Yeah, for sure. So that's for the local stuff. We're going to move to Montgomery and give a shout out to Hunter Robbins, which we know from Pensacola. Mm-hmm. His wife is a snowball derby winner. Yep. Show Me the Money 100, the Pro Late Model race up there a week prior to this past week's events at Montgomery Motor Speedway, the Show Me the Money series. Hunter Robbins comes away with the win. Christopher Tullis, Chase Spradlin, Josh Hicks, Anthony Cataldi rounded out the top 5. JoJo Wilkinson, probably the night she expected, finished 8th, and Dylan Petro 14th. But that was awesome, and a really good field of Pro Late Models up there with that Show Me the Money 100 in Montgomery.
Always a good show up there.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations. That was a good race, and that track up there that's one of the tracks I want to go to and run some.
Right.
I've had fun up there once, and I want to go back again. Montgomery's a great place.
Yeah, and there's some more names we're going to throw around, and some of we speak of a lot, and others we don't have to speak of because you see them every weekend.
Right.
And Ted's got a big race up there in somewhere in North Carolina somewhere.
Yeah, the Tar Heel 250. It was a big one, and I want to get this right. I don't want to hammer this name. I've done it so many times. Gio Ruggiero. Thank you. Mm-hmm. He comes out on top in the first auto group by TRD Toyota. The list run on, and the people he outran, for crying out loud: William Byron, Cole Butcher, Ty Majeski. That's the second, third, and fourth. Fifth place was Caden Quapple. They all outran Chase Elliott, for crying out loud. So it was a quality, a bunch of folks up there. And then Stephen Nassy, Austin Nason, Jet Nolan, Michael Hine rounded up the top 10 with a 10th place finish. And then Jesse Love and Casey Roderick. Jesse Love actually in 11th place was the last car running on the lead lap. And then Casey was right behind him, Rost Strimska. I really hope I'm getting that right. That's a heck of a challenge, I got to tell you. Billy Van Meter, Matt Craig, as we know him, in the 54 car we see so much up here, 15th. Albert Francis, local guy Dustin Smith coming in 17th, and then Tyler Tanner, Jackson Boone. It's kind of unusual for him to be that far down, but apparently he had an oil leak in his car, and that created problems for him. Blaine Roca, Carson Hocevar, Cody Connor, and then really unusual, the next two, Bubba Pollard 23rd and Jake Finch 24th. They both had some kind of difficulties there that night.
I heard Bubba had a hole in his radiator. He was running up front, and when he parked it, so just some bad luck bit him this time. You know, we're all Bubba Pollard fans in this room. And the thing about it was a controversial finish because Rogerio moved William Byron. They got together on the last lap. He doored him coming off the corner. So they were rubbing and banging. I mean, who wanted it worse? You know what I mean? You got a cup star versus a short track racer trying to make a name for himself. What do you think he's going to do?
I think you're going to get punted.
I think he's going to get moved.
That's it. That's what happened.
Wiggle, and get out of the way.
And make me giggle.
Yeah.
That's that series that's going to generate a national champion. A national champion.
And right now it's looking pretty good for Ty Majeski.
Yeah, he's out front now.
Yep. I mean, Bubba's. I don't think he's going to have to really do some hustling, and Majeski's going to have some problems before anybody else catches him. But right now, Ty Majeski's looking like the man.
The Timinator's on top.
Yep.
That's the ASA Stars National Tour, the Tar Heel 250 at Hickory Motor Speedway, and they're going to continue, as we will, continue to follow that series and throw some more big names out there, and you're going to hear, it's going to be sounding like it's a repeat of the week prior, but all those guys, they're going to be there, and they'll run that series for a national champion at the end of the year. We got to go to Anderson, Indiana. I have to make a correction. Last episode, I was under the assumption, and I had this in my mind, that this Little 500 sprint car race was indoors. And I'm thinking something else, and I still haven't put my finger on what I was thinking of, but this was at Anderson. It is a really small high bank bull ring. And I think they had 33 sprint cars throughout the 4 days that got into the final race. Wow. At Anderson Speedway in Anderson, Indiana. Jake Traynor ended up winning the race with Caleb Armstrong, Cody Swanson, Jacob Wilson, and Logan Seavey. Now, those are some of the names in sprint car racing in some short tracks that we throw out. Logan Seavey, obviously. Cody Swanson, for sure. Tyler Rohrig is another big name. He actually won it last year. He finished 8th. Emerson Axum is a big iRacer and a big short track guy. In the wing sprints, this was not a wing sprint race. It was a more of a midget sprint race. But there were 33 of them that took the green in that little quarter-mile bull ring, and it was
a front to back, nose to nose, wall to wall cars.
And I'm talking about balls out racing, just wide open, and that little cars run that place. It's pretty awesome. Ken Schrader's won that a couple of times.
Yeah.
I can imagine those big names have been through Anderson in that race.
Oh my God, Schrader won that, and he was on Kenny Wallace's The Kenny Conversation, and they were walking around Kenny Schrader's shop, looking at all his modifieds and all his trophies. And in fact, that Anderson trophy, the little 500, he showed him the trophy, and Kenny Wallace asked him again, said, "When do you plan on retiring?" And he said, "Well, when my friends get too old to pick me up and put me in the car." He said, "Then what are you going to do?" He said, "Get some younger friends."
Yeah.
I love that. That is just so cool to hear. Because Kenny Schrader is almost 68 years old.
I know how he feels.
Yeah, but I mean, but the race as long as and to beat around on dirt tracks, that's tough. Man,
Isn't he in the race car just about that many times?
He runs up to 60 races a year.
Yeah,
and that's not including doing all the stuff he does for Federated Auto Parts, which they have what they call a play day, where they bring these guys out that are federated, local, affiliated people, and they put them in a car and they tend them out and let them run some laps, and they think they're flying, and then Kenny puts them in the 2-seater and takes them out and shows how it's done.
Really?
So he said, we do that quite a bit. And I'm like, dude, that would be cool.
All of them.
I would love to do that. But Ken Schrader's a neat guy. I just had to bring him into this because he's a short track guy, always has been. So's Kenny Wallace. He just won. Matter of fact, Saturday night in over near St. Louis, where he's from, and a little bull ring he runs, I think in Belleville, he won his feature race.
Well, as long as you're having fun, that's important.
Yeah, I mean, but those guys they raced Cup, they made their money, and now they're having fun doing. I mean, I would love to do what they're doing. It's so cool.
Well, you kind of are.
Kind of. Not at their level, but.
No, but I mean, your level is just as relevant as any other level. You're racing for fun,
True.
and
I mean, even though we almost got in a fight, I was still smiling after I left Friday night. So, I mean, that's a positive.
That's not the last time that will ever happen, for sure.
I mean,
No, hell
That's
no.
part of it. Rubbing, racing, fighting, yelling, screaming.
you go to a car race and a hockey game breaks out.
They wanted to come over and just say how good you were.
Yes, they
and they appreciate your talent, and they wish they could be more like you.
discussing lunch plans.
Right. Well, I was talking earlier that evening with Tommy Lambert, Hunter Lambert's dad, and we made amends from our Derby thing, just to let everybody know. We've made up. We're buddies again. And he said, Jim, I want to tell you something. I said, what's that, Tommy? He says, I tell people this all the time. You're the hardest driving driver out here. He said, man, you take something that shouldn't run up front and you put it there. He said, you wheel your butt off. And he said, I just want to tell you that. I said, man, I appreciate that. That means something coming from him.
Yeah.
So that made me feel good.
That's always nice to hear.
Yeah, it is. I try.
Well, we're a little underfunded, so.
I mean, but I tell my crew, and I've said this to you, Ted, I give 110% behind that wheel the entire time I'm racing. If the car's way too loose, I'm driving as loose as I can drive it without wrecking it. If it's too tight, I'm driving as tight as I can without wrecking it. If it's in between, I'm doing the best I can do.
Yeah. Well, words from a champion there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
And that's what it takes. It takes 110% to get to that level. So.
And I want to say this too. We had the Sportsman Championship or the Spectacular, and I got started on the pole. That's the first time I've heard Robbie Harvey say the words, our 2021 series champion, Jim Pokrant. And I'm sitting in the car going, that's cool to hear, man. That's the first time I've heard it get announced over the speakers when I'm sitting in the car, and I'm like, that's cool. That is super cool.
Well, if you think about it, I think in the top 5 the other night, we had like several champions.
Yeah.
Be it
Between Chad and me, I mean, I don't think BJ ever won a track champion. Well, he may have won one in
pure stock. He did. Yeah.
So,
I
think
it was pure
and
stock.
then Daryl
man.
McDonald, he's pure stock champion of Five Flags and sportsman champion last year at Mobile.
Right. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about, you got your own set of competition out there too, as far as that goes.
It's funny, there's an old video somebody showed me, and Jonathan Langham started outside of me on the pole in Mobile one night, and I smoked him like a cheap cigar, and he faded quick. That's when he first started racing. So, but he doesn't like me anymore.
Oh, darn it. I
Well-
don't think that's going to change.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm going to throw another name out there that we haven't talked about, and I don't think we've thrown it out yet because we don't know a whole lot about him, but the company that he was with this past weekend in the Wenatchee 200 in a Port City chassis, might I add, both of them, Cole Raz and Derek Thorne.
Oh, I read that article, man.
Yeah, dominated the Wenatchee 200. Now, they had a 100 lap for the first half and a 100 lap the second half. And they ended up finishing first and second the second half, but they led every lap in that first and second half and just dominated. I mean, it was just like there was only 2 of them out there in a Port City with Derek Thorne. Now, Cole Raz is probably just as good being in that company.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of used to Derek Thorne leading a couple of laps here and there.
Yeah, a few, just a few. Just a few, not a lot.
He's
Sitting
been
on a few poles here and there. But this Raz kid must be something else. To the company he was running against and he beat that man. Oh yeah, that kid's going to be somebody. Raz is a name we're going to hear about here pretty soon, and I got a good feeling.
Yeah, they would bring up good talent for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And to be in a company like that with Derek Thorne in a Port City chassis, no doubt. I've not heard that before. I don't know if he's experimenting or if it was just a ride opened up for him, or maybe he's mentoring this Cole Raz guy. But I mean, first and second, a big race like that, and he had a bunch of fun. I read the article about going out there just having some fun on the weekend, and look what happened. It's just,
by the way.
yeah. Oh, and by the way, I just picked up some success somewhere else in another vehicle. So.
Well, the dude's got a ton of talent. There's no denying that. And right now, because Campbell Motorsports went under, he's probably taking any ride he can get in for now and just trying to do the best he can. And I mean, he did really well, and that kid beat him, and that's got to give that kid a confidence booster, and it makes Derek Thorne work even harder.
Right. He'll come back. Don't worry about that.
No, yeah. He'll be at the Derby. I guarantee he'll be in something, whether he's in Paulie Schaefer's ride or somebody else's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be look, super late model racing all across the country is exciting. We got new names. We got old names. We got people who've been racing for years. We got people that are just starting out. And some people have been racing for a little while, like Rosario, it's starting to win.
Right.
Yeah. Starting to win on a regular basis. I remember he won spotted here and there, but now he's in that Donnie Wilson car. and he's pretty good.
That's a good crew to get in with because Wilson can darn sure build some cars. We know that for a fact.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. He's already got that resume. That's a big list already. And speaking of new, just want to bring this out and made contact with a new super late model series. It's their inaugural season. This one is the Atlantic Canada Super Late Model Series up in New Brunswick. It's quite a ways from us, but we have touched not just regional, local, national, everything else. We've gone to Canada, Mexico. We've been in Alaska. But this is their first race was on the 14th of May. They've got 6 races. One is already under their belt. They have 3 tracks that they use, 2 different provinces, and 1 champion. And they're $4,000 to win super late model races. They post their races on YouTube 48 hours after the race, so people can get an idea of what they're doing and what their series is all about. It is just like we've talked about down here with the Snowball Derby and all these big super races. They were 26, I think, or 27 that raced up at Speedway 660 on the 14th. And there were some, Ryan Messer, Steve Haplin, Lonnie Somerville, Dylan Gosby, and Dave O'Blennis were the top 5 there. And they really put on a show. Now, Lonnie Somerville is one of those late model drivers. I want to say and reach out that I think I've seen him in maybe a super race down here. I don't know if it's a blizzard race, maybe somewhere along the line, but I know we've had somebody, and I want to put my finger on that name that's been down here before. I know it's a long way, but we have a lot of guys that come down from that area, the Maine and Michigan and some Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, we got some from Canada. I wonder if he's the one that blew the motor and caught on fire, and then, remember him? That guy was from Canada.
Yeah.
And then they put the car back together and he came back out and didn't make the last chance race. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that game Messier, I wonder if that's pronounced Messier, like the hockey player.
Could be, yeah.
Being Canadian. I'm just curious because you said Messier. I'm like, I wonder if it's Messier, like the hockey player.
Messer. He won the race. And you watch the replay. It's an hour and 23 minutes on YouTube. And he didn't start up front, but he was up there battling with Lonnie all race, and they put on a good show. And it's short track stuff, and it's Speedway 660 in New Brunswick. Their following event was supposed to be on the 3rd of June, but they got rained out. It was at Petty International Raceway, also in New Brunswick, but it got rained out and it got pushed. I think it's in 2 weeks from the 3rd, so that would be on the 17th. Which would be Sunday. I'm not sure, maybe the 16th or 17th, but I think it is a week from this coming weekend. But that 48 hours after the race, it's on YouTube. We just want to give them a plug because the Atlantic Canada Super Late Model Series is new. I made contact with them through their Facebook page, a Super Late Model Series on Facebook. They have growing in followers and growing in likes as we are. Wanted to give them a shout out. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at it. It is June 17th, so it will be 6 o'clock in Canada on the 17th. Their second round at Petty International.
Well, welcome to Short Track, guys.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
keep an eye on them as well.
And have a beer up there. But Canada is full of short tracks. They're all over the place. I mean, Randy LaJoy tells a story. One time he went up there and ran a Busch Grand National race, and he spun this Canadian out, and he said these 2 big lumberjack-sized Canadians come walking in wearing fire suits. And he said when they were done telling me what they do, they could barely speak in broken English, but I understood not to touch that car ever again.
You persuaded.
These guys could have pounded me in the ground like Bam Bam. He said they just kind of went, and I got you, 10-4, don't touch that car. 10 Roger.
Got it.
Yep.
Message clear and received.
Well, that's what we have this episode, 42. Episode 43, there's plenty that is coming this weekend. I know Jim's off this weekend. His next event here locally at Five Flags is the 16th. So actually the 17th is a Saturday. So, the 16th is Five Flags Speedway at Friday night. There is plenty coming up this next weekend. We will have a lot of that covered. As much as we're allowed to.
Everything we can stick in there.
Yeah. More names, more prestige, more drama.
More good times.
So, plug in your sponsors there, Jim.
I just want to thank All Pools, Ted Baber, Can'tquitfishing.com, James Pfeiffer. Emerald Coast Remodeling and Trim, Michael Davidson. He wants to build a crown stock. So we're looking for him a Crown Vic and a cage, and we're going to build him a car so he can come out and join in on the fun. Pensacola Glass Company for the windshield for this year. Thank you very much. That's thanks to Ted also. Jerry Bowman, Bowman Marine Construction for all the decals. I'm fixing to hit him up because we're going to make a paint scheme change. I'm sorry, got to do it. Thanks to Martin Beck, my crew chief, and his daughter and her boyfriend for being there with us Friday night. Thank you, Mike Gorham, for being there and helping out. Appreciate everybody. Thomas, you were there. Appreciate the help. And you know what? We'll get it done next time. I mean, I think we're gaining on it. We finished 5th, 4th. Well, next thing's a podium, and then we got to get us a win for this year's over with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we look forward to that.
Me too, man. I'm tired of not getting any trophies, man. My trophy shelf's getting thin.
Get some dust on the glass and we can take care of that.
Jesus. It's time for me to win a couple. I'm used to winning them.
Yeah, and do want to just kind of remind everybody these episodes are brought to you in part by McDonald Muffler. They're a muffler shop in Mobile, Alabama. We do appreciate their support. We do appreciate everybody who's listening. It means a lot to us, and thanks for the comments. Keep them coming. Gives us a little bit more of a tool to use for some information to pass out. And before we go, got some more stuff.
One more thing. Congratulations to Short Track Guys podcast guest, Grant Enfinger, for winning the truck race. He's got 2 this year.
That's right.
He's a contender for the championship.
Yep.
He's a local driver from Fairhope, Alabama, and we're proud to call him a short track guy because he's been on this podcast.
That's right.
And we want to congratulate him and tell him to go win that championship so we can have you on as a truck champion. We're going to get him back on as a truck winner. We got to talk about that soon, Ted. Try to get him back on for the season's over with. But congratulations, Grant Enfinger. As a short track guy, we're proud of you.
I just want to throw one more thing out here. The Grand National Super Series is running in Montgomery June 17th, so be there for that one too, if at all possible.
We're the 16th Saturday. Oh, yeah, we might have to ride up there. I got the little Mazda. I'll have it fixed by then. We might be taking a ride to Montgomery.
That's it. I want to see this. I want to see what it looks like.
I hear you.
Short track racing everywhere.
That's it. Keep digging, fellas.
It's like kids with their hands in the cookie jar, man. We're in it.
That's it.
All right, guys, until next time.
That's it.
We do the 1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon. Good night, everybody.
Be strong, America.
Thanks for listening.